Have you ever noticed that almost the entire planet calls this game football? But America insists on calling it soccer. More than 5 billion people say football. The United States says, nope, soccer. So who's actually right? Did America randomly invent a new word just to be different? Or did everyone else change while America stayed the same? The answer is much stranger than you think, and by the end of this video, you'll see why this entire argument is basically one giant historical misunderstanding. Let's explain. First, let's clear up the biggest myth. Most people think America created the word soccer. Sounds reasonable. It isn't. The word soccer was actually born in England. Yep, the same country that now acts like the word never existed. Back in the 1800s, Britain had several different versions of football. There was rugby football, there was association football, and there were local versions with enough rules to start family arguments for generations. People needed a way to tell them apart. Here's where it gets interesting. Students at Oxford University had a strange habit of shortening words and adding error to the end. That's already awkward. Now let's move to America. Around the late 1800s, another sport was becoming incredibly popular. American football. Big helmets, huge tackles, enough stoppages to let you finish a sandwich between plays. Since Americans already had a sport called football, calling association football simply football would have been confusing. So they kept using the British nickname soccer. In theory, this solved the problem perfectly. In practice, and the rest of the world slowly stopped using the nickname. Meanwhile, America never changed. It's like borrowing someone's old jacket, and 20 years later, they're asking why you're wearing their jacket. Now, the funny part, for decades, even British newspapers and football clubs regularly used the word soccer. It wasn't controversial, nobody cared. Then football exploded into the world's biggest sport. National identity became part of the conversation. Calling it football sounded more authentic, more traditional, more serious. And suddenly, the same country that invented the word soccer started pretending it had absolutely nothing to do with it. History can be wonderfully dramatic. So why does almost everyone prefer football? Because the name actually makes sense. The original game is played mainly with your feet. Simple enough. Yes, the goalkeeper uses hands, but one player out of 11 doesn't change the overall idea. Meanwhile, American football is mostly throwing, catching, blocking, and running while carrying the ball. You know the type. The ball touches people's feet for about 3 seconds, yet somehow it's called football. Sports naming committees clearly weren't worried about future internet arguments, but language is weird. And language follows culture more than logic. Countries keep words because people keep saying them, not because dictionaries hold elections. Today, almost every country on Earth says football. The United States and Canada mostly say soccer. Australia often says soccer because it also has Australian rules football. Ireland has Gaelic football. Different countries had different problems, so they ended up with different names. Nobody is technically wrong. They're just using different traditions. So the next time someone says, it's football, not soccer, remember this little twist. The word soccer isn't an American invention. It's a British export that Britain decided to stop using. And America simply never got the memo. One game, two names, over a century of history, and millions of people arguing online every single week. If you learned something new, subscribe for more simple explanations of the world's most confusing sports. And here's one final question. If England invented the word soccer, should Americans really be the ones getting blamed for using it?